Welcome to the RoadCast, the official podcast of the European Asphalt Pavement Association. I'm your host, Carsten Karcher, speaking to you from Brussels. In each episode, we bring together key voices from across Europe and beyond to discuss about the asphalt paving industry. Today, I'm honored to be joined by someone who has been shaping the road infrastructure conversation in Europe for almost 2 decades. Christophe Nicodème is the Director General of the European Union Road Federation, or ERF. He's led the organization for 17 years, advocating for better, safer and more sustainable roads across the continent. We'll look back at his career, talk about ERF, the current landscape of policy and infrastructure, the challenges and opportunities ahead, and of course, what the future may hold for road transport in a fast-changing Europe. Christophe, welcome to the RoadCast.
Thank you very much, Carsten, and thank you for inviting me. I feel really happy and honored to be here today for this podcast.
Thanks for coming over. Your office is not so far away. It's just
not really.
Literally just across the street.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's really great to have you here. We spent a lot of years together now in this industry, and just recently we had an event together, the International Road Maintenance Day, where you have been one of the speakers of the sessions. So you are really experienced, and you've been leading the European Union Road Federation since 2008, which is really also a remarkable achievement. It's a long time now. What first brought you into road infrastructure?
Well, I don't have what I would call a typical type of background for the road sector because my academic background is languages. And after studies of translation, I thought that I would like to use my knowledge in languages for contact and for business. So I followed an intensive course of sales and marketing. And then I had the opportunity to get a job for a UK company dealing with road markings and road safety equipment.
And looking back at the past 17 years, what are you most proud of in terms of ERF's contribution to the European road sector? We will talk about this throughout the podcast, but just to give one idea.
In fact, I must say that before being the Director General of the ERF, the company I used to work for was already a member of the ERF. So I had some knowledge of the organization of the ERF, and I was proposed to take over that position, which was quite a different type of job because working for a business, for the industry, and then going for an association, it's quite a different type of activity, but it was definitely related. So what I'm really proud of is that when I took over the ERF, it was already a well-established organization, associations in the Brussels bubble, let's call it like that. But with the time, I could give a sort of a personal hint to it. We could increase the membership level. We went from 45 to 70 members. Also, we could achieve a greater recognition by other major stakeholders, being European or international. I would talk about CEDAR, PIAC, for example. And also, we widened the number and the variety of internal working groups. So really, these are, I think, major achievements over that period.
And you are really highly appreciated on the Brussels floor with the European Commission, Parliament.
Which is important, is what we are there for.
That's the reason why we are in Brussels, true. Yeah. We have been to many, many events together.
That's true.
And wherever I went, you were already there. But that's
not always, but we try to, and of course we met very regularly.
Yeah, but this is our job, of course.
Of course, yeah.
When you look back, what would you say has been the biggest shift in the sector?
Road safety has always been the core of our activity, and it remains. Obviously, this is a very important topic. But with the time, I think that more and more the stress has been put over sustainability, which is definitely becomes now one of the major aspects of our sector, which for many years suffered a little bit from that image of not being the best contributor or the best participant to the general framework of sustainability in transport. Also, another important factor is digitalization and the new technologies, the influence of more and more technologies into the sector. I think these are the two major notable progresses over the years, yes.
So you mentioned safety as one of the main topics ERF is dealing with throughout the last decades and still is very high on the agenda. So what is the progress on the EU level from the European Commission? Because safety is something where DG Move is highly interested in, which other topics might not be that high on the agenda, we talk about later. But with safety, it is the case. So they have this Vision Zero goals. And so can you explain a little bit around that and also the work of ERF in this?
I think that we have been quite involved in committees into the elaboration of the Road Infrastructure Management Directive, which is quite important for enhancing the safety level on the European road network. We also had the opportunity of being present in different expert groups with focus on signs and markings, for example, always in relation with road safety, the connected, automated mobility, which also brings a lot of new challenges into the road sector. And another element that has become more and more important also at European level is the importance of vulnerable road users, which probably were not so much integrated into the global framework some years ago. And it has become also with a change of mobility behaviors and mobility patterns has become more and more important. If you look, for example, at the urban mobility, this is really at the core of the concerns about the safety of the road users, pedestrians, of course, as well.
And what is the policy that the EU is focusing on in this sense?
Well, it's a policy focused on the urban mobility mainly. And this morning we had the opportunity, for example, to say that the street or the road is not only the highways, but it starts when you get out of your house. It's the walkway, it's the cycle lane, it is the bus lanes for the public transport, and it is important to work at different levels for different type of road users that with the time have become more and more important.
There's also this European Green Deal coming from the European Commission. So how does this influence road infrastructure?
Well, it definitely has an influence on the road infrastructure. As I said, the road itself didn't really have a green, I would call it a green image, and still has to struggle a little bit to say that they are also a contributor to a more sustainable mobility. The Green Deal obviously is a very large but also complex tool for all the stakeholders that are working in the road sector to be also implemented. And what we see sometimes is that this Green Deal concept, if I can call it like that, can give the impression of being big, a sort of big system where you can easily get some misunderstanding. You can be a little bit disorientated, and some actors of the sector can feel that it is too complex and there are some cumbersome administrative things to do. And I think more particularly to SMEs, which are large part of the companies which are involved into the road equipment or road infrastructure sector. And another element is that sometimes it looks so complicated that people can feel discouraged. And there's another element that sometimes comes into the discussion is that the European actors can have the feeling that the Green Deal could create a situation of unfair competition between the European actors and the non-European actors. Mm-hmm. And so all in all, the Green Deal needs to be really explained very much in detail, because people can have the impression that they are left a little bit out of the framework. Yeah.
Christophe, do you think the role of roads in enabling sustainable mobility is fully recognized in EU policy debates?
Definitely not.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm happy that we agree on that point. No, they really don't recognize the importance of the road infrastructure. When people, well, generally speaking, when Europe considers sustainability, and in particular for roads, there's a lot of highlight on vehicles. And vehicles are obviously a major part of the mobility, but let's not forget that vehicles need an infrastructure to drive on. And the infrastructure has also an important role to play in this sustainability framework. Because this morning we had this fantastic opportunity to talk about the importance of well-maintained road infrastructure that can help reducing the fuel consumption. At the end is also economically profitable for the road users, for the road authorities, for the countries, the member states, and Europe, generally speaking. But maybe it is not advertised enough at the level of our sector. And we might maybe do more to convince people that we have a role to play, and not a small one. And you know, if we take the three pillars, the vehicle, the driver, and the infrastructure, if you don't consider one of the three elements, the three pillars, you won't achieve all your objectives. And we need to work together in an integrated approach. You can have the best digital system with satellites that can really say where you are at a centimeter, yeah? And the best driver respecting all the rules. If you have to drive on a jungle path, you won't achieve your objectives of mobility and sustainability neither. So you need all of these elements.
True, fully agree. So communication is important, to communicate all the good things that road bring to the society.
Absolutely.
It's not only noisy, CO2 emissions producing, etc., etc. There's also a lot of benefits with roads. And you mentioned already coming from A to B, which is important if it's a pavement, a sidewalk, or a road, or an autobahn, or highway, whatever it is, we need it.
Definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of good aspects, and I'm sure you can name some of those good aspects.
Yeah, well, roads are really a major contributor to cohesion, to connection between the citizens. It also helps mitigating the isolated areas. That's again connection, but it also brings a lot of economy, prosperity to the whole country and all the countries and to the citizens. That's, I think, something that we also need to underline.
Yeah, and during COVID, everybody understood that during the pandemic, everybody understood that we need roads.
Definitely. I remember that obviously we were all shocked when things happened, but I remember that one of the first thing that we decided to do with the team was to publish a document saying, look, we are getting into very difficult moments. We don't know how things are going to evolve, but look at the fact that roads have been the transport mode that could immediately keep on the service to the citizens by allowing emergency services, bringing food to the supermarkets, changing also very quickly the shape and the possible usage that the existing infrastructure could offer by making small changes. Look at Brussels, where I don't remember exactly the quantity, it was probably something like 40 kilometers of cycle lanes were installed in less than 1 month.
Yes. Yeah.
When sometimes it takes ages to do a little part of work on the road. Here, it was quick, and it all went for the benefits of the citizens in these particularly difficult situation.
Yeah. One of our colleagues once said that roads have been the first social network.
Of course, they have been. Definitely. Definitely.
They still are.
And they still are. Yeah. They were somehow.
Not digital. They will become more digital.
But they do. They do. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And what happens with such an important network that we have? That's our asset as citizens of Europe. What happens when bridges fall down? Not only in Italy, also in Germany and other
in Portugal,
rich countries, I would say.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Well, I think that we need to make a slight difference between, if we look at Europe, Western Europe and Eastern Europe. Because in Western Europe, our infrastructure has been built before. Eastern countries have joined the EU at a later stage, and they could benefit from some funds for creating, building, and enhancing their road network. Whereas our road network was, most of it was built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That network was built according to some criteria of the moment. Means with a certain type of traffic, a certain volume of traffic, a certain usage of the road infrastructure. Now we have much more traffic than at that age. We have heavier vehicles, we have more intense type of traffic on an infrastructure that's getting older and older and older, and then more fragile. From time to time, we can see those tragic events like the Morandini Bridge in Italy, but that was probably a very strong event that struck everybody because of its amplitude. Whereas bridges that collapse or having small problems, I think that almost every day on our road network this happens. It is therefore so important that we maintain, preserve, and upgrade that road infrastructure. Just when I say maintain, preserve, and upgrade, it is not to make it more, but just to make it capable.
Yeah. Not have a longer road network, just to keep in a good condition the existing one.
Exactly, a condition that would allow people to use it in the best possible conditions, sustainable conditions, economical conditions, and everything is linked, definitely. But we see in many countries for lack of investment for a long time, so big backlogs that have serious repercussions at different levels. Safety, human lives, the sustainabilities, and also the service, again, the service for the citizens.
Yeah, the service for the road users.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A smooth surface with a good evenness is reducing CO2 emissions because a low rolling resistance, less fuel consumption for the user, so an individual benefit for the road user. So a service, that's this road as a service for the user, but also for the environment and also for the society then, because less fuel means less CO2 emissions, less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Definitely.
This is one of our goals, coming back to the Green Deal again.
Yeah, absolutely. And people need to, generally the road users, they say, well, it costs me. When you have a car, you don't hesitate. You have a car, you have a house, you maintain it. Otherwise, after a couple of years, your car will be a wreck. And your house will start having such problems that it will cost you... Structural even, that will cost you much more than if you had done some regular maintenance and improvements to your asset, because it is your
A private asset, and you take care
yeah.
of the private asset.
Yeah.
But as long as it's a public asset like roads, bridges, schools,
Yeah.
we are a little bit reluctant and less
But it's the
less
asset-
willing to spend money.
It's the asset of the citizens. Somehow, it is also the private assets of the citizens. It belongs to them.
Yes,
of
belongs
course.
to all of us.
Yeah, to all of us.
So it's a big asset, and you have one of the figures in your presentations, which is 6,500
Yeah, let's say
billion euros.
let's say 7,000 billion euros for reconstruction.
European road network.
Yeah, the European road network. We didn't have a crew of highly specialized mathematicians, and people using.
So it's an estimation.
It's an estimation, but we spent some time on that estimate, and we could compare some existing estimations from France, for example, and taking into consideration the percentage of the European road network that was in France in terms of length, and the figures that they were working with, we were really on the same sort of range.
How long is the European road network?
It's approximately 4.5 million kilometers.
4.5 million. So almost 1 million, around 1 million is France alone.
Yeah.
It's a big country.
Yeah.
Germany around 700,000. Italy, Poland, also UK.
Yeah, but like now we talk about European Union. When we did the calculation with the 8,000, we also included
UK.
UK. Yeah, UK.
Okay. Interesting. So why don't we keep this road network in a good condition?
Why? Because
I think we answered it already before.
we did, but certainly the fact is somehow people consider it as granted. It's there. Well, as long as it's there in good condition, well, I don't have to care so much about it. Once I start feeling that it's not so well maintained, or if it's got some potholes or problems, and I can say, look, really, this is bad, and they do nothing to make it. But as long as it goes well, it's it's part of our environment. We don't really consider it as something really important.
Yeah. And the money that should be linked to road or infrastructure coming from taxes at the gas station, etc., and all the other taxes related to road, maybe even toll related to the road, does not go to it's not earmarked. It does
exactly. The term of earmarking, I know.
You are an expert in earmarking,
Well,
please.
I must say that some years ago, we could not have one meeting, one discussion without having the word earmarking appearing in the conversation. And it was quite important. People would say, but you already get public money and public investment, so part of this should be dedicated to the improvement, the general improvement of transport, whatever type of transport it is. Translating it.
Yeah, so this is a lot of money comes from the road transport into the budget of the state, but only a very small portion of that goes back to maintain this infrastructure. And it's not only about road infrastructures, other infrastructures too, like train.
That's true.
But we are the road guys, so we talk about roads here. And there's a big backlog in road maintenance all over Europe, I would say. There's some reports like the UK alarm survey or alarm report that shows really clear figures on that. We need more funding for road infrastructure, and not to build new roads, but to maintain those that we have. And then we also have the sustainability effect, because we talked about the less fuel consumption, less CO2 emissions with well-maintained road surfaces.
That's for sure. And I really liked one of the points that were discussed this morning about linking more clearly the fact that we invest, not make expenditures, but we invest in the maintenance of the road so that we can save emissions. And it's to the benefit of the road user. Whereas I was thinking, if you drive along the road, sometimes you see here the province is putting some 100 millions for doing this, and people probably drive and see that and say, my God, this is a hell of a lot of money. So for what? But when you say, as it was suggested this morning, because of what we do, you will save money because you will consume less. It will be better for the environment. It will be better for your comfort, for the service we can offer to you. I think people will maybe accept that more and maybe even ask for more investment in maintenance.
Yeah, so maybe for explanation to our listeners, this morning, we are recording today in beginning of April, and this morning we had the International Road Maintenance Day. On occasion of that day, we had an online event in the office of EAPA in Brussels, organized by the European Road Maintenance Forum, especially by EAPA, I would say. And we had a panel with 2 sessions and panel and a roundtable discussions, and this ideas came up to tweak or to twist the idea of we spent 100 million euros for a certain amount of highway length to rebuild it, to maintain it, and to change it, to change the communication around this. So look, we spend 100 million to reduce CO2 emissions on this road when a certain amount of cars rolls over it, needs less fuel for this, for the society and as a service for the road user directly.
And you use the word communication.
Yeah.
This is an important word. We need to communicate to the final, let's say, customer, which is the road user, the citizen. And it's important to communicate what we are doing.
Yeah, what we are doing, why we are doing. And there's a lot of development in this field. The technologies to build a road and to maintain a road are there.
Oh, they are there.
We have the experts worldwide to do that. But we need the funding, we need the possibility to really do it, to keep our assets in this good conditions.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and we have all the tools to measure it. Even today, when the cars are rolling over a surface or a road, there are so many sensors in cars. We can collect all this data. We see where there is a good friction, where is a good evenness, and with this information, we can feed our models to see where the next maintenance job has to be done.
Yeah. This digitalization of the data collection is also a very essential tool, and it will certainly become more and more essential in the future.
Yes, to feed these models. We have these models. We have pavement management models. We have everything there. Of course, it will be developed. It's updated from time to time, but the tools for the engineers are there.
Yes, they are.
Technical tools, software tools. We have even better data with all the sensors now, with better machinery to collect this information. So this is possible. So now the funding is important. Where would you see the road industry in the next 10 to 15 years?
I think that...
The crystal ball.
Yeah, well...
The famous crystal ball.
The future technology developments will definitely play more and more an important role. And we talked about, for example, digitalization, the collection of data, but also the processing of data and how we can use those data to improve all our processes from design, construction, operation, maintenance of the infrastructure. These are definitely an important element. More and more, I think we will have to think in terms of interconnection of different areas, but also of different transport modes. Road still have to play a important major role into that, but we cannot operate alone. We also have to operate together with different modes of transport that will be more digitalized, but more integrated also, because more digitalized they are, the more we can integrate it and have and provide a better offer to the user. Sustainability, obviously, all this will help improve the sustainability of the global transport framework. And I think that also this is a future vision, but we can't afford to leave non-connected road users stranded. We need to provide the service, the same level of service to different types of road users. The connected ones, the ones who are really juggling with all the possible applications and can easily manage all that and live more easily with a connected road, and the traditional road users, because we won't go from one day to the other to fully connected, fully autonomous road users of vehicles and so on. We will need to provide the same level of service to all road users, whatever their equipment or their knowledge is. This is also important. So we need to keep in mind all the road users that we need to provide a service to.
You were talking more about the regional aspects, but it's also different kind of road users. So we have pedestrians, we have cyclists, we have motorcyclists, we have heavy-duty vehicles, we have the passenger cars. So a bicycle lane might have a different, or that definitely has a different structure and a different needs different conditions than a highway.
But we can, I think we can offer a road infrastructure for all these users, and also a more flexible road infrastructure that we can build differently, that we can make more easily adaptable to new circumstances, new conditions. These conditions can change at very short term or longer term. And I think that it will probably be one of the major changes in the future. We'll have a road infrastructure that we will be capable to adapt to many more situations and scenarios.
So if you had the possibility to, we are doing this on the Brussels floor, but now we have the podcast, and you can also try to spread some key messages to policymakers, road authorities, but also to the industry. So I'm from industry, for example, about the future of asphalt roads. What would it be? Would you have some key messages to tell us what we should work on, what we should focus on? But I would prefer if you would go more to the policymakers.
Consider it as an essential backbone to economy and to prosperity. That's the first thing you need to do. And make it adapted to the future requirement. And that goes for a better road infrastructure. I don't mean more road infrastructure, but a better maintained, a better prepared, a better adaptable road infrastructure. Go for that. Consider the priorities of the future in a way that will allow to not only accompany the changes, but be proactive for the future changes.
We had it
anticipation.
We had this edited this morning. We have to start doing something now. Don't sit and wait. We have different vehicles. We have climate change. We have the aging infrastructure. We have to do something, and we have to start now. We already see the backlog.
We do.
And it will be even bigger, the backlog, if we don't start doing really something now. And we have to have it on all our agendas.
Absolutely. Let's not dream. We won't catch up. Everything. There will still be some need, but if we do it better, we will improve the situation and anticipate. We need to have a vision which will anticipate those requirements.
I'm happy that I represent a flexible material in this sense.
Well.
So this will help a lot to make this adaptation, to do small steps with small changes, and the flexible material will help.
Yes.
Christophe, it was very, very nice talking to you. Very inspiring. Thank you for all these
insights. It was
insights.
very nice to be with you here and have the opportunity of sharing some of my experience. But as it is always, anyway.
Yes. Highly appreciated, as you know. You are always a highly admired and welcomed guest in EAPA and in events that we organize. So thank you for all of this, all of the good collaboration throughout the last years, and thank you for being my guest at this podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really had a great time. And if I can say something about the road industry, go for it. Go for it. There's a future in it. This is the example. I had no engineer studies, and I went for the road industry, and it's really great.
Yeah, and you remained in this industry.
Yes.
It's a sticky industry.
It is. I won't say that to an asphalt person.
Yeah. That's it. We had several guests in the podcast that said, I came into the business and I remained in the business because it's so diverse. It's so interesting. It's really, it kept me interested throughout my career.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's plenty of full of opportunities.
Yeah.
And
we should communication again this to young people.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's with all this digitalization, all this sustainability, decarbonization efforts, possibilities.
Go for it.
Go for the roads.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Go for the roads.
Excellent. Christophe, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and congratulations again on your long journey with ERF.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure having you on the RoadCast. And to our listeners, if you found this conversation valuable, please subscribe and share it with your network. You can also explore more about our work on the EAPA website, eapa.org. Check the show notes below the podcast, leave a comment, and stay curious for more conversations about the road ahead. This is the RoadCast from the European Asphalt Pavement Association. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.